already know it favors BDG as well in the Dragon Lane.
Yeah, the most important thing though is that RIX is on blue side and they actually banned the Lucian.
Yeah, you gotta respect
ban,
it. Yeah. BDG, 3 games in a row in their 3rd place matchup against Team GP for Korea's 3rd seed, winning every single time.
Yeah. That's a huge one, and interesting enough, RIX actually banned out the Singed as well. Now, Snitch's most played champion in the WREC finals was actually that Singed as well, so we've taken that away in the Lulu ban as well. I think, you know, the red side, we're kind of seeing the same sort of bans now, what we've seen before, you know, the Yumi in the center as well, but there are going to be some other bans.
So there's 2 power picks that are looming in the shadows right now that I'm thinking about that have not been banned yet. Karma and Jace. They have been 100% banned by all the other teams up until this moment, and one of those champions is going to be let through. The question is, will RIX prioritize it? The Karma is the one that gets kicked back into the ban corner, and bam! Jace is slammed down.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. But the question is, though, where is this Jace going to go? This Jace is a very flexible pick. It can be played in the mid lane. Snitch has played it in mid lane. We have seen a little bit in the jungle and also in the Baron lane as well. But T1, they've come to play. They were like, okay, we know what we're picking. Corki, Kha'Zix, let's go for it.
And you don't want to mess with Jay White when he is on the Kha'Zix. I mean, this assassin has already proven to be one of the most powerful picks for junglers on the patch. I think every time it has been picked on the red side today has been 100% win rate.
Yep, and normally we see this kind of Lucian Corki trade in the mid lane that we've seen, but now we're not going to have that. We're most likely going to be seeing Corki and Jace in the mid lane, so we have to see maybe if it is a mid lane Jace, is it going to be a hole breaker Jace as well? Because we spoke about it a little bit before, you know, with the hole breakers, when there is a hole breaker, sometimes you want to build another hole breaker as well. But 7 on this Lee Sin, his 2nd most played pick in the entire year. 7 is an aggressive jungler at times, especially on the Lee Sin, and also that Rakan pick as well. Clue's most comfortable champion, played it so much during the WREC finals as well. Sometimes even got banned away from him in the WREC finals.
Yeah, before we even get into the 2nd round of picks and bans, you see already a core being made by RIX here. All about playmaking, all about early aggression and early advantages. Jace, a powerful laner in itself that you can play to, have priority in, and then you use that to leverage an advantage. For this Lee Sin and the Rakan to be able to invade or create pressure on another side lane, you can force dives. Whereas T1, they have a little bit of defensive action. Corki's not going to be able to match it as well. Kha'Zix wants to wait a little bit, can't skirmish early, but is waiting for the Duskblade power spike. Whereas the Gragas can make plays or can defend plays.
Yep, he's aggressive or defensive. It depends what you want. Now with that Rakan pick as well, I think we've seen a lot of supports already, icons that have been roaming around the map, and I really want to see Clue be the first one. He needs to be the first one that goes in. And this Riven pick as well, I think Riven was quite, you know, on people's radars of being one of the most contested picks coming into icons. She got a buff quite recently, but also she's just never been nerfed. She's just really good in jungle, Baron lane as well. Interesting enough, she hasn't been picked that much, but it's going to be picked up here.
Yeah, there was a period of time where Riven was one of the strongest picks on the patch. They had to tone her down a little bit, especially with her interaction with the Solari Charge Blade, but then that item got kicked to the can. But it's okay, because now you have Divine Sunderer and this Lux pick more than likely coming in for Doom.
I don't know what I think about this, Rafa. I wanted to see Doom on these hyper AD carries. I think everyone will just be saying to me, Stuart, shut up about Doom and hyper carries. I mean,
now, if you wanted to cope, maybe it's random on the Jace, Snitch Lux, and then they last pick the Marksman for Doom, and it's something super spicy. Maybe a Tristana.
Jinx? Oh! It's going to be our first Echo!
The boy who shattered time is finally here! We were in the green room. We were talking about that somehow Echo has just gone under the radar for everyone. Not a single pick, not a single ban, and it finally shows up here for RIX.
Echo versus Ahri mid lane. This is Core's main as well. This is what Core is known for the Ahri pick. But Snitch, he is the streamer. He streams a lot. He's played so much Echo on his streams as well. And it's a pick that might not do so well in the early game, but when this champion scales, you could just one-shot anyone. It's going to be insane. They have so much lockdown as well, you know, the Lux, the Rakan, and also the Echo.
There's so much skill expression that can be demonstrated with a strong Echo player, because a lot of the times the bursts, people will expect it coming from your first and third ability comboing as a 3-hit passive, right? But the most skilled Echoes will be able to control the pace of a fight, where their clone is, and be able to chrono break and get that massive AoE ulti for the nuke.
the scaling on the ultimate is huge. You know, as long as you just keep track of where that shadow is, Echo's shadow, then you'll be able to go back, one-shot everyone, especially if you combo that with the W as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely huge, and I'm so excited for this, Rafa. One quick thing as well is that, you know, we talk about RIX being such a flexible team, they could play anything. This is the first time Doom's played Lux this year, and also this is obviously Echo's first game, and it's just a new pick for Snitch as well. So, you know, I thought coming into Icons, they might play something a bit more comfortable, but they're just like, no, we're going to pick some more new champions.
I love that. RIX, I'm a big fan. I want to see this Echo thrive on the Rift because this champion, I have been a huge fan. I've been spamming in my own solo queue games. And obviously, anytime we talk to Darkbreaker about the Echo, he was outraged when he got more buffs because, like, this champion was already strong and now you're making him broken. And we finally get to see if it lives up to the hype.
I have to see. I mean, this is a good thing about Echo as well in the early game, is that if you start your first ability, you can push out this mid lane wave. And you can see the mid lane wave is just pretty much already pushed in, which allows Snitch to potentially roam around the map. He is playing a little bit more passive, though, against this Ahri as well. But Random with a new skin as well on Jace, Forsaken Jace, that came out yesterday. So is a new skin, so I think he just picked it just for the skin.
I mean, Forsaken Jace is kind of I mean, Random's already getting the drip check locked down here in Singapore for Icons. But for RIX, one thing that you mentioned was how well are they going to be able to adapt? We've seen so much fast-paced gameplay from the winning teams in both RRQ as well as JDG earlier today. The second wave roam timers, as the second wave is coming in right now. Once this cannon is gone, I want to see what Penguin is going to do on this Gragas. Is he going to immediately book it towards the top side of the map? But as you already see right now, in the other previous games, some of the other supports would have already been towards the mid lane. So they're taking a delayed approach, and it looks like Seven should be able to have an uncontested crab on the top side of the map.
Yeah, they're just going to be trading crabs at the moment. Kha'Zix's on the bot side, Lee Sin is on the top side. Both these teams at the moment seems to be playing very, very standard, no crazy roams or anything not just yet, but this is kind of something that I expected really coming into a World Finals, is maybe teams playing a bit more passive, but Seven on this Lee Sin, he's going to try and kill the Riven.
There's not any strong CC outside of the hammer. They bonk him, and RIX is on the board. Europe strikes first blood against Korea.
Oh, Europe won, Korea nil. It's only in kills so far, but it was so well played by Jace. You can see how many minions Riven is losing as well. JY has to come up to soak that experience, to soak that gold as well. Random used the Jace as a slow push into the top side, and then as SE7, he cleared the whole bot side, went up into the top scuttle, and Random was like, cool, we got a big wave here, we can dive top, and we can get that first blood. So it's really, really well played by Seven also, Random.
And this is what you have to do for RIX. If you have an aggressive duo in the Lee Sin and the Jace, I don't want them to be sitting back and just letting the game roll out. You have to be active. You have to be forcing the advantage down the throats of T1, because T1, most of their champions outside of this Ahri are ones that want to wait for that first item spike. They have some strength in the laning phase, but they cannot withstand the brutality of Lee Sin and Jace as early as level 3.
Yeah, Lee Sin, oh, he's going back up here again. I don't think they saw him in the bush as well, but you were saying, you know, Lee Sin, this aggressive early game jungler. Jace as well, this aggressive early game Baron laner as well. This is really, really important to try and get this Jace ahead, and it looks like that's kind of where they're going as their win condition. But JY, he has been spotted on the Scuttle Crab. Snitch is here as well. He's doing too much. A little bit of poke, a little bit of a long tap, and he's just going to back on.
Echo's not the strongest champion super early on, but because of the buffs, his power spikes allow him to come online just a little bit faster. Once that Luden's Echo is completed, he's going to be able to deal, oh, let's say a considerable amount a respectable amount of burst damage that, as T1, you cannot ignore.
I wouldn't even say respectable, I'd say ridiculous damage to me. I would just say absolutely ridiculous damage. You were just trying to keep on the low. You was trying to be like, yeah, I'm not going to go too crazy on this because it might backfire, but Echo does ridiculous damage. But Clue, we can see roaming up at the moment, and also Penguin trying to, he's going back to lane for now, but Clue just walking around, making sure that he can protect himself. But Doom on his Lux pick. We've seen Lux being played a little bit in other regions. I believe this might even be the first time we've seen Lux being played from an EU player in an EU region as well. It's a pick with, you know, great lockdown if you can use Clue's ultimate and also his knock-up on top of the Lux as well. There's a lot of crowd control in this duo lane, which might help them as it goes into the fights. And speaking of fights, we are 40 seconds away from our first objectives that spawned at 5 minutes now, not 4 minutes. This is going to be interesting to see. Most champions now are building their first items.
I mean, the big thing to know for me is Random has already completed his Old Breaker, whereas Jong is still waiting on that first item, Black Cleaver, and they've already transitioned a lot of their power towards the Baron side of the map. Penguin is going to be here a little late, but he is here in time to make sure that the turret doesn't fall completely. They wanted to knock it down while the turret resistances were down before the Rift Herald came up. They still have advantageous position in here, but that package is going to be crucial.
Yeah, the package is also going to be crucial, but also Doom roamed up here as well, so they move both the mid laners down to the bot lane. This is something that's kind of very standard. You see the bot lane, duo laners going into the mid lane for the wave clear, and then you'll see where this is going to go in terms of objectives. 7 is already moving up towards the Rift Herald, has started it as well, but it looks like it's going to be traded on the other side of that by J1.
Yeah, and just like Hell said on the analyst desk, T1 very focused on the dragons, and with the Infernal Dragon, that is one that you definitely want to have in your back pocket with a mid-game scaling composition like this, because a lot of these assassins and bruisers, not necessarily the strongest, super early on in the get-go to match up against the Lee Sin and the Jays, but the first item already being completed, now going to have a little bit of extra firepower behind it.
Yeah, the extra little bit of damage that you're going to get from the Infernal Drake definitely will help them when they scale as well. You know, you've got the Corki scale and the Karzik scaling as well. We've got the Essence Reaver Corki, that's what I like to see. Something a bit more standard, you know. We've seen some crazy Corki builds so far today. It's only seen 2 series.
As the current resident marksman player on the cast, I know that in the green room you have just been absolutely disgusted by the amount of Hullbreaker Black Cleaver rushes for Corki. Not saying that it's incorrect, but you're just like, man, why do you guys not like doing damage with crit?
It's like they're building bruisers on a marksman. It's like you're just tag. I think there was a situation where it was like Lucian and Corki are fighting each other, but no one's dying. Normally one gets one shot, the other one does, but they're just bruisers and they're just going for tit for tat, basically.
Yeah, somehow the two marksmen are fighting a wet noodle fight. And that's something that you'll usually see out of tanks. But RIX, I like the proactivity right now, already getting the Rift Herald down. However, T1 is here to defend, and it's on a full health turret, so it won't get first brick quite yet, but some plates over towards the way of RIX. A natural 1,000 gold advantage has been built up after the first blood here, but T1 forcing them away with Jong popping the Wind Slash.
Yeah, Jong did push it, uses the ultimate, can't go on top of RIX though, unfortunately. They tried to be proactive, like you said, on the Lee Sin, trying to get the mid lane, but Penguin as well.
Oh, 7 goes in for the insect on the JY, kicks him back, and it looks like Penguin is the one that pays the price for it. RIX is already on the board. T1 answering back onto 7 because he was very deep behind enemy lines, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade. Penguin dives in, dies. 7 dives in and dies. You know, everyone's diving in, trying to make these crazy plays. It's definitely a lot slower paced series so far, game so far, of what we've seen in the rest of the play-in stage at the moment. But a little bit of a skirmish there where, you know, Penguin tried to flash in, 7 tried to flash in as well. It was a really, really nice kick, but unfortunately it was just a 1-for-1 trade.
So far, Stuart, I want to get a quick vibe check right now, because I was expecting at 7.5 minutes, before we get into that, we're going to take a look at the replay.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the replay. Really, really nice play by 7. He tries to flash away as well, but the problem is you're jumping onto Core and BDG on Corki and Ari, so there's not really much you can do there. And then Gragas dived in on the other side and also died as well. So a little bit of a skirmish, but again, a much slower pace game this time around.
All right, back to the vibe check here. So, looking at the other 2 series, far more fast-paced. You already made great notice of it. This has been a slower game. And for RIX, 2-1, 1,000 gold advantage. How confident are you feeling about EU's chances right now?
I'm feeling confident as Core's going in.
Okay, Core Charm, and just as I say that, maybe, Stuart, did I just get you the Caster Curse RIX? It's just 1 kill over for T1. Not all momentum has been completely nullified by T1, but they are answering back. A turret taken on the Baron side of the map. RIX are going to try and knock out the turret on the bottom side of the map, and it looks like T1 are going to be able to neutralize it for now.
Jong looks like he's even going to carry on pushing in the Baron lane as well. This is something that RIX loves to do. They like to trade in terms of towers. They like to make sure that, you know, if one tower gets taken on one side of the map, then another tower is going to be taken on the other side of the map. But unfortunately, for RIX, T1 were there to defend the bot lane tower. So a little bit of an overstep, really, by Random. He did get caught out as well, but Rafa, we're a pretty much dead even game. There's a 300 goal difference in the Wild Rift. That's basically nothing.
And for Team 1, since they're a team that is playing towards this mid-game awakening right now, they're playing right into their favor. Whereas RIX, great first move with the Lee Sin and the Jace dive onto Jong, but after that, nothing else. And so, I'm curious to see now how much of that advantage is going to be lost or really nullified by the equal power strength from T1. And I feel like it's all going to come down to Snitch, who really has the biggest scaling power spike in this Echo Assassin.
Oh, is he's gonna get ignited? He might have to ulti? No. He's all good for now, but Reno on the other side of the map, they're going to take the Rift Herald again. Snitch, you need to be careful. And Random?
Well,
Not too sure what happened there.
Yeah,
oh, Snitch gets a kill
Okay,
though!
Snitch using the Chrono Break outplays Core, popping the stasis, and JY can't go under the tower. Snitch gets out alive in the 1v2.
1 versus 2 outplay in the bot side. We missed what happened to Random, and also RIX got the Rift Herald at the same time, so it's not looking too bad for RIX. You know, they're 2,000 gold down now. Not too sure how Random got caught in the top side there. I think maybe he might try to go in for a play. But trading again across the map for RIX. You know, Rift Herald up in top side, 1 versus 2 outplay in the bot side of the map. But Random unfortunately gets caught out. But you mentioned a little bit about the scaling of T1. I think the scaling of RIX is also not too bad, to be fair. Oh, he's cancelled his back!
Oh, parallel convergence. JY wasn't expecting to be jumped on by that, but you still gotta respect the Kha'Zix isolation damage. Final spark cancelled by a nicely well-timed stasis.
Snitch is like, I feel comfortable, I could go in. Kha'Zix just turns around, isolation damage, uses his first ability, pretty much nearly one-shot Snitch, and now there's going to be a downside because now they're just on the back foot for this trade.
2600 on the Dragon, can 7 get in there for the steal? Not even a chance. T1 instantly bursted down, leaving no chance for RIX to even counter-respond. Life Binding. I mean, Penguin is super tanking on this Gragas. Popping the Stone Plate as well.
Yeah, he's already got Stone Plate. I think he already has Dead Man's Plate as well. As Jong's on the sides by himself, though.
He's got Blade of the Exile turned around. Explosive cast hunts him right in. Final spark for extra burst damage. They turn it around before he can pop the Wind Slash. Snitch is back into the backline as well. 7 going down over to Core, but the rest of T1, it's still a 2-for-1 overall advantage. Core trying to turn up the heat here, looking for another play, but Doom with a beautiful flash gets out alive.
The Protobelt ulti by Core, trying to get the charm and trying to get another pick onto RIX, but it's a 2-for-1 trade at the moment. They're going to try and take this mid lane tower, but there's no minions left!
They're trying to force it down, but Patience is getting ahead of RIX as T1 forcing them away from the tower once again.
The wave clear from Corki and Ari is just way too much. You use the rockets, you use Ari's first ability as well. There's no way that they'll be able to take down the mid lane tower. We're going to go back to this replay again. Jong gets caught really by himself at the sideline. Penguin tries to help him, but the final spark by Doom onto both Gragas and Rivendell on the back line. They tried to dive in, they tried to trade it back for T1, but unfortunately they couldn't really do that much. And really, it's Echo's second ability that's working as kind of like a zoning tool now, because, you know, you've got champions that want to dive in, like Jong, like JY, and like Core. And, you know, Snitch on his Echo has been doing really well, and using his second ability is more of a defensive tool than an aggressive tool. Sometimes you can use it to dash in, but sometimes you can just use it on yourself, and you're just like, okay, come to me, I'm just going to get a big massive shield, I'm just going to stun you.
Yeah, massive zone control. The big thing about the parallel convergence you got to take note of as well, even if you don't step in it for the stun, it's still a slow field. And so if T1 walk through it, they're putting themselves in danger of getting either stunned or just being late to a rotation or another side of the fight. So T1 have to, at all costs, avoid that zone from Snitch. And the fact that Snitch is just showing awareness of where the rest of T1 are and not just tunnel visioning onto the targets that RIX immediately catch on shows great prowess from this mid laner.
Yeah, as a champion that he has been playing a lot. You got Random now in the top side as well, with the whole breaker completed, going for Divine Sunder, it seems like, as well, but they're going to try to make a play on this bot side.
And once again, it is Snitch with the parallel convergence plus the reinforcements of the rest of RIX, zoning T1 away. This is... Oh, man.
Penguin. Was close. He tried to flash in. He tried to use his third ability. Yeah,
everyone gets one. Everyone gets one.
It's for day one. You know, we can't be so harsh on these players. It's day one of Icons.
I don't know.
Maybe after day 2 or day 3, we might be flaming a little bit. But, you know, day 1 is fine.
Whoa! But the stasis is great from BDG, but can he get out alive? That's the question. No! The burst damage from RIX overwhelms BDG's health bar, sends him back to the fountain. The turret will fall as well, and RIX suddenly are ever so slowly gaining control of the map now.
They've been trying so many times. I think third time's the charm, really, for that mid lane tower. They've tried to take it down over and over again. And again, it's the chain CC that I kind of mentioned about, you know, Doom with the first ability, Clue missed time the knock up with the stasis, but with Snitch with the second ability as well, using that to stun. And BDG tried to Valkyrie away, but couldn't do much.
Taking a moment to breathe here. The 2 dragons of the game have been taken by T1 successfully. What RIX have done in response has been trying to answer back in terms of overall turret advantage. It's only 3-2, but they have successfully now taken all 3 outer turrets at this point.
I think I want to mention one thing about Clue's build. He has gone for the Ecstatic Siege Jar, which we've seen a lot more. Now the item did get changed a little bit. As I say that, I might have to be silent.
7 with the insect. Pick on to JY. Stasis goes, but it's still going to be in vain because Doom's got the burst damage and the bug has been squashed.
7 sitting in the bush waiting, and JY trying to get a little bit aggressive there, but unfortunately for him, he got caught by 7. Really nice kick back into Doom and then change the CC. But going back quickly to Clue's point, Ecstatic Siege Jar got changed. Really nice item now, gives health with ability haste. Might look for some crazy plays, but I like the Abyssal Mask second item. You have a lot of AP damage from the Lux and from the Echo. That's going to be, and Clue's going to be diving in as well. That means that magic resist is going to get completely shredded on the side of T1, so you could be looking at a potential one-shot.
And T1 don't have any true takes outside of this outside of Penguin on the Gragas, but he's going to be a support, so he's not working with as high of economy as the rest of his teammates are. And JY and Jong, they don't want to be building magic resist, they want to build damage. So at some point, they're going to have to invest into at least a Hex Drinker, maybe a full-on Malmortius, because this is a ton of burst damage that is now coming in for RIX.
It's so funny, Snitch and Doom, they have exactly the same items. They don't have the exact same boots. No, they have different boots. That would have been cool if they would have had the same boots.
You know what?
As well.
Doom said, hey, you copy my homework, but don't make it look like you actually copied my homework. You got to change up the boots. Options there, at least in terms of resistances. They both went for stasises because you got to respect the burst damage from the assassins from T1.
Yeah, as we look into this next dragon fight, it looks like it's going to be a little 5 versus 5 skirmish as JY's doing really well to try and pull the dragon away. But 7's on the side as well, but so is John.
Both of them are looking for flanks. 7 wants to go for an Insect as well, but we forgot about the front line. A lot of burst damage from Final Spark out of Doom. Stitch is there to clean up already. Penguin is gone, and that is one of your main front lines, one of your main sources of engage. It is now up to Jong. It is up to Core, maybe looking for a charm, but Snitch or Doom is able to cancel it out with the stasis. BDG trying to go in, goes golden, but he's super low and he gets absolutely annihilated. Snitch trying to follow up, Core forced to flash away, and the third dragon goes the way of RIX.
Oh, the Final Spark mid lane as well nearly kills out JY, but RIX in the end, they use the aggression that they have from Clue as well. Random got like completely one shot again. He hasn't really been having his best game, but look at that bottom side of the map. 2-0-5 for Doom, 0-0-7 on his Clue as well. As we go back into his replay, the Final Spark as well. He's doing so much damage. There was initially a little one-for-one trade, but then after this, JY's too low, Jong is on the side as well. They're trying to not do this dragon. They're going to try and turn around. Snitch goes in as well. They're trying to make sure that they just don't get caught out. But BDG, I'm not too sure about that Valkyrie forward, buddy. I mean, you have the stasis, but Doom times the first ability really
And this is a result of, oh my god, just off-screen, Core getting picked off. That dragon fight, though, was a result of losing out of your primary engage in Penguin's Gragas. Once he's gone, you're relying on Jong to be the one that carries it. Turn off the camera. Turn off the camera. Pan away. Pan away. Pan away. Avert your eyes, Stuart. No. He can't hurt you. But okay, this is good camera angle now. If you're a new fan. RIX still picking up the pieces. Random going down for a sacrifice. Now T1, they are the ones looking to hold on. They are the ones suddenly on the back foot. Losing out on that third dragon, losing out on control of the map. Waves are not pushing in on the side lanes, but RIX don't care. They have all the strength necessary to take out the second tier mid-turn.
Again, before this series even started, I talked about RIX and their macro. They're just using Jace, they're using Random as a distraction in the bot side. You're like, okay, you're going to take a kill, but we're going to take your tier 2 mid lane tower. Now they're going to play a little bit aggressive, trying to get this red buff as Clue secures the red buff. Not too sure what he's going to be doing with auto attacks on Lux, but I guess the secure is the secure.
You know what? Never mind. I thought about it, and I was like, no, it's coping too much. But it's okay. RIX don't need the efficiency of that, because right now they're in a great spot. 3,000 gold ahead of T1. It's not a massive advantage. It's not completely out of the woodworks for T1. They still have ways to play around. But so far, RIX have identified by being able to isolate the Gragas, their main source of engage, it is incredibly difficult for T1 to actually close the distance on most of the backline here. Because when you think about it, outside of Doom, everyone has some sort of mobility spell that they can use to either re-link up with one of their teammates or get out of harm's way.
Yeah, and I really like the Banshee's Veil pickup as well by Doom now. He's just picked it up, it gives him a little bit of magic resist, but also gives him that little bit of a shield as well. So if Core tries to go in now and use the charm, or even Gragas as well tries to use explosive cast, Doom on this Lux is a very immobile champion. He's talked about all the mobility, but if T1 can find a way to try and catch out Doom, then that could be their way to get into victory. But Snitch as well, 4 items on this Echo. We were talking about how much Echo can do when it comes to the mid and also the late game as well, which pretty much in 19 minutes, as the Elder Dragon will hopefully be spawning very, very soon, and that could be the final team fight.
It's a lot of weight on one fight. Random, though, in a 1v2, Stasis goes golden. Jong already using the Wind Slash, Final Spark there, trying to put some burst damage back down, but T1 crucially taking out the Baron laner from RIX. There's no strong objectives outside of the Baron to play for, but they're looking for it. But Seven knows that Jong has no other cooldowns on a JY, forcing the flash out. Jong trying to go in and stall some time. Penguin throws out the explosive cast, disperses the members of RIX, and that's enough to guarantee the safety of his teammates.
Seven's doing so well to just sit in the bushes and just wait for T1 to catch onto them. It was a perfect way to do that there. Didn't get the kill, unfortunately, but again, it's Random just being isolated in the bot lane again. He's trying to, you know, play the 1 versus 1 game against Jong, but JY has just been sitting and defending Jong the entire time because he got that big disadvantage in the early game. He was losing all the minions, losing all the gold, and also losing that first blood as well. As saying that Jong's looking to go in here.
Okay, Seven and Clue, can they turn this one around? Core and Jong are quite fearsome opponents. Wind Slash and the Broken Wings closing the distance here. Takes out Seven's Flash as well as his Guardian Angel. Can T1 punish here? Final Spark trying to push T1 back, but they've waited it out, and now they're pushing through the choke point. Seven goes down, and at a crucial point too, because the Baron is up on the table here. T1 maintaining health bars here.
Elder Dragon's going to be up very, very soon as well. I don't think Seven's going to be up as well for the Elder Dragon. I think it's about 30 seconds away now for the Elder Dragon. There you go. It pops up, and Seven's going to be dead for 40 seconds. That means that T1 have a 10-second timer when it could potentially look to burst down that Elder Dragon, sorry.
Oh, wait, who got the Scuttle Crab? Was that Doom? I couldn't tell.
Did he clutch it?
Did he clutch it? Oh!
Oh, he did!
Oh my goodness! That's actually
huge.
Yeah, that's really nice because now you have vision of the pit. Otherwise, it's super dangerous for you to walk around through the river. T1 still had that 10-second advantage though.
Yeah, the TP coming in for Seven as well. He's going to be buying it. He's going to be TPing. Are T1 going to try and flip it? Are they going to try and burst it before Seven even comes alive?
You have to. RIX have been dominating the mid game so far, but T1, if they get and secure the Elder Dragon, this is their way back into the game. Seven TP, doing it 2,500 HP, but T1 secure the Elder Dragon. Seven comes in, it's just a little too late, finds the kickback, but he gets isolated. Now T1 have the numbers advantage. Pressing forward, Penguin doing a great job of front lining, looking at Snitch. Chrono breaks back, but now it is RIX on the backside of T1 after being down in the mid game. They're the ones pushing it back with Snitch. Takes out PDG. The boy who shattered time is looking to shatter T1, but RIX, all 5 members look to fall. A prime gaming ace for Team 1.
T1 in the end, they secured the Elder Dragon. That 10-second timer that they had, are they going to potentially win the game out here as well? They've got a little bit of a wave in the bot side. I'm not too sure. You got about 30-second death timers. Riven and Kha'Zix can kind of burst down this tower. This could be game number 1.
And just like that, Stuart, RIX, they had so much going for them. The mid game was great. They were making slow pushes, but T1, they take one advantage. One death off of RIX, and they use it to snowball into the Elder take the fight, and they forced game 1 back on their side.
What an insanely close game though, Rafa. You know, back and forth for the entire game. You know, sometimes it was RIX getting a little advantages, sometimes it was T1 getting a little advantages. It was just that little bit of a misplay by Seven in the top side of the map. You can't play that aggressive, and you can't be caught as soon as the Elder Dragon comes up. You got 10-second death timers, and look, the guys know it. You know, I feel like they kind of had control of this game as well. Even though the goal difference didn't really show that, you could tell by the map as well, the map control. They had the advantages, but as you said, one little misplay and T1 just take it full steam ahead.
And the context of the misplay is what is so important here for anyone who is just as shocked as we are on the caster desk.